Today it's about how to pack a military backpack. Yeah, I have some experience with packing bags from my outdoor activities and also from my military service. And so I want to share this experience with you. Of course, there is no universal technique to pack a backpack, but there are some basics which you should consider when you pack your bag. Yeah, at first, size of the backpack, of course, is important. When you want to carry a lot of stuff, it's important to have a big backpack. Yeah, in a perfect world, you would have a perfectly fitting backpack for the content you have, which will be good to carry. But in the military environment, it can be better to have a bigger backpack with some spare space, because it's possible that one of your comrades is not able to carry his equipment anymore. And then you can take some of his stuff and you can share it with the group, and everyone put something additionally to the backpack or to inside his backpack. Yeah, right here I have a 60-liter backpack from Berghaus, and with this I will demonstrate the basics of packing a backpack. When it comes to the things you pack inside your backpack, you have to consider some things. How compact are they? What is the weight? Are they fragile, or do you have to have them easily accessible? When it comes to easily accessible things like magazines, it's in the chest rig, for example, or a uniform, but also in the backpack you have some things that could be important to have easily accessible without a lot of searching inside the backpack. Yeah, with those basics I will now try to pack the backpack with my experience. Yeah, in the bottom part of the backpack I often start with my sleeping system. At first I have my sleeping bag. This one from Katharina has got a compression bag. When it comes to compression, I always try to compress it in a way that it fills the backpack like a puzzle, because when you compress it as tight as possible and have a lot of tightly compact compressed bags, you will have to play Tetris in your backpack, and this is time consuming and annoying. At first, the sleeping bag. Yeah, it fits quite well. And on the bottom, the good thing is when I place the backpack on the floor, this is like a pad. It cannot be damaged from this impact, and it protects the complete other content, even if you have like a radio inside or other things that are like fragile. Next thing is also for the sleeping system, a BV bag. This could also be like already wrapped around the sleeping mat, but I also place it inside. And now these things don't have to be fast accessible, because it's for sleeping, and when I have to sleep I can open it up and have to make a bed, and it's almost safe environment. So this can be dumped in the deep corners of the backpack. Yeah, the sleeping pad is lightweight, but not compact at all. So with lightweight things you can place them a bit further away from the back, because if you look at the backpack from the side, this is close to the back and this is far away, and this is lightweight, so I can place it on the outside. Those foam mats are also quite robust. Of course they can rip, they can get holes, but the function is still there, so I can place this on the outside and it's not a problem. If you have, for example, an inflatable sleeping pad, it can be better to place it on the inside, because they can get damaged. Now my sleeping setup is already packed. Now the other things are like, for example, the food. And for food I have this big bag, and inside there are like snacks, my field rations and so on. This is relatively heavy, but before I pack this I get some snacks, place them on the outside. And since this backpack has got a front access, so it has got a zipper in front, I place this back in the inside so I can have access to my food while I'm on the run. Now I also have got a pot to boil some water or to cook, and I have a stove. I place the stove inside of the pot so it's together even at night when I need to find my things without light. I know with this I have two things which are for the same thing. This is metal, so it's relatively heavy. I try to place not too far on the outside, but relatively close to the back. And also the fuel is relatively heavy. And what I often do with bottles like this, I place them, of course, again, as close to the back as possible and on the outer edge, because with bottles it's often possible to really slide them in really deep on the side parts of the backpack. Same goes for water, but now for water it's important you need water on the run. So if you only have like one bottle, it's better to have it somewhere on the outside, because then when you stop and take a rest you can drink really easy, or when you have a hydration bladder it's close to the back and even easier accessible. But when it's like spare water, you can place this also close to the back and slide it down on the outside of the backpack. And it fills in nice gaps which often appear here in this area. Now other heavy things are ammunition boxes or carabiners, climbing gear, things like this. So if the ammunition is like spare ammunition and it doesn't have to be easily accessible, then you can also dump this in the backpack close to the back. If it has to be easily accessible, for example for the machine gun, it can be better to attach additional pouches to the side, for example, and have it in there. But always make sure not to have it too noisy. This is just like for demonstration, and let's say it's spare ammunition, I will pack this close to the back inside. And now when I have like two things, I try to estimate the weight and say which is heavier. This one is heavier, so I place this closer to the back and this one a bit further away. Yeah, carabiners, climbing equipment, it doesn't have to be easily accessible right now. When you are like in a mountain environment, or you know you're packing your things to go somewhere where you need this, it can be better to place it on top. But right now it's only there, so maybe I can use it in some days, for example. I place it somewhere and try to fill the gaps with this, but still keep it together as one bundle. So at night it's easy to find. And I know this is the gear I need, but I can use small things like this to fill the gaps. Now, when it comes to clothing, of course you wear the clothing on your body, but then you sometimes need to carry additional clothing or spare clothing. For example, sometimes rain pants can be good, or insulation pants, or changing underwear, or underwear to change, and socks and so on. I try to pack those things together, so I know this is for clothing, and for this I use a watertight bag. For example, this one also is from Berghaus. I roll it so it's sealed, but I do not compress it too much, because then it's harder to place it somewhere inside the backpack and it takes a lot of space. This one, for example, has got a valve, so I can push the air out. And then I can close this and it's tight. But it's still flexible, so really easy to place this in the backpack and to also fill some of the gaps. And this one is relatively light, so I can even place this relatively far from the back. It doesn't have to be super close. Okay, now maybe you ask yourself, why do I not pack the backpack from the front? That's the main reason for like those clothing pieces. I can really push this inside and use the pressure, or even I can stand up and do like this to compress it. And when you fill the backpack from the front, it's not that easy. But for other things, or when you have a lot of pre-packed stuff, filling it from the front can even be the better thing. But try it out when you are in a safe, not stressful environment, and then you can find out your preferred way of doing it. Okay, now I'm almost at the top of the backpack. So I have some things here which I want to have easily accessible. So I can really easily access or have access to the whole content with the zipper, but sometimes it can be easier to just have access from the top. Or when you only have like a top loader, then this packing style is the way to go. So for example, I really like those hydration bladders. It's just to carry or collect water when they are empty. It's super compact. I can place it here on top or even on the outside of the backpack with not a lot of weight. And when I am somewhere where I can collect water, I get this out, fill it up, and it's a sling. I could even just place this around my shoulder and carry 3 liters of water. It's from Hydra-Pack. Nice, useful thing. And now, especially when the weather is changing, like right now it's winter or spring, you need some functional clothing. For example, a wind jacket, and maybe you have to change sometimes when you take a small rest, and then you want to have your functional clothing on top. Or a rain jacket, for example. When the rain starts, I just have to place the backpack on the ground, open it up, and have my rain jacket. And when it's super cold, of course also insulation jacket. Because when there's also a rest, then just backpack down and have full access to this functional clothing. And it's really easy to select, do I just need wind protection, do I need rain protection or protection from the cold? And it's also really nice to compress it from up here. Yeah. Now those snacks, they can be in the uniform or the chest rig, but also like in the top compartment of the backpack. And it can be a good thing to carry like a day pack, but it also depends on how you walk around. Some of these side pouches, for example, can be used as standalone pouches or standalone small backpacks. So with some backpacks you can also attach the day pack on the outside, but then you really have to watch out, do you attach it on the outside, like here, because then you have the weight far away from you, or on the sides, but when you have it only on one side, it's also not nice. Or you just use the backpack like this super lightweight one, also from Berghaus, roll it up and place it inside here. Yeah, when you have a pre-packed day pack, then the whole process is a bit different. Then it can be good to place the day pack with, for example, those functional clothing, some snacks and food for like 24 hours on top. But right now it's just packed in here. And yeah, when it comes to helmets, of course, most of the time the helmet will be on the head. But when it's like for climbing or when you're in the mountains and you know you only need this helmet for a specific section of your route or only for night vision, for example, there are some helmet pouches, for example this one, and you can place the helmet on the outside. When it's a bump helmet like this, it's even not that heavy, so it's still quite nice to have it here. And for helmets on the outside of the backpack, it's important to really keep it tight, bring it tightly to the backpack, because otherwise it will swing around and this will be annoying and will consume energy. Yeah, now when it comes to ropes, for example, it can be a good thing to place them on the inside of the backpack. Sometimes the space is not there, then you can just place this on the top and close the backpack. Now you have to watch out that you do not walk through tight bushes, because you can get stuck with all these loops. So you really have to decide what area are you in and how easily accessible does the rope need to be. Yeah, and then I can also place them underneath these straps on the side to keep it closer to the backpack and not have it swing around too much. Small things like documents or a map can be in the uniform or so, but yeah, like the folder cup or a small water filter do not necessarily need to be in the uniform. So this can be in outside pouches, for example, like the top compartment of this backpack with the snacks. Okay, so I also want to say thank you to Berghaus, which partnered up with me for this video. And yeah, let's talk a bit about the idea behind this backpack. As you have seen before, like if you now want to have some more things easily accessible, or if you want to have one backpack and be able to add some more volume, it's really easy with the system to add additional pouches. There are those side pouches in different sizes, for example. And with this, it's also easily accessible if you have it on the outside. And they also offer like special pouches, for example this one for medics. So you can use this as a small standalone medic pack with some nice possibilities to sort your stuff. And this can also be attached to the outside of the backpack with hooks. And with this you are able to have a modular system and adapt the backpack and your load bearing system to the mission you are in. Yeah, and that's how I pack a military backpack with some basics. Let's remember or repeat the basics. It's about lightweight things can be on the outside, far away from your back, but heavy things need to be close to the back. Then if you have something with a lot of volume, also try to place it on the outside if possible, otherwise you lose the space inside the backpack. And really keep in mind, do you have things that have to be really easy to have access to? Then also place them somewhere on the outside, or like the functional clothing here on the top, because it's that fast to get my insulation jacket. Now when the insulation jacket is on the bottom, it's annoying. So that's it. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked the video. Make sure to also check out my other videos. I'm looking forward to be watched by you again. Bye.